Hello, this is cybersecurity expert Reginald Andre, and we are live today talking about a situation that's happening in Pennsylvania right now as it relates to a very big data breach. We have about a minimum 72,000 residents have been affected. So let me go ahead and back up the story and kind of give you a little insight of what happened and what led to the 72,000 residents information being breached. And when I say residents, I'm talking about the citizens of Pennsylvania. So last year, COVID happened, and the health department is swamped. They are trying to put a lid, so to speak, on this COVID situation. And there's this word that everybody started to hear, which is called contact tracers. Well, essentially, the public health department is overwhelmed. They don't have enough staff. Therefore, they hire a company called Insight Global, which is a staffing company based out of Atlanta, to assist in finding people to be contact tracers. Now, I'm sure almost everybody may have been contacted by a contract tracer, and their job is essentially to let you know that maybe you were exposed to someone with COVID, and then they want to know who were you around, and therefore they can kind of just create a lineage of different people that may have gotten exposed, and the whole goal is for maybe for you to be more careful or for you to quarantine or whatever the case is. And of course, if you got COVID, they would also be asking you this information. Now, the troubling thing is that they did not follow health protocols. Specifically, there's something called HIPAA protocols, which says that anytime you're dealing with people's information as it relates to their health, there's certain guidelines that you must do to make sure that you keep their information secure. In this case, this company and some employees unfortunately created a Google spreadsheet to contact all of their all of the people that they needed to contact. So they got the information most likely from the public health department. They essentially then copied and pasted this information to a Google spreadsheet. Now, a lot of times businesses and people like to use Google spreadsheet because it's a very easy way to collaborate on with many different people. And if you make a change in a few seconds, it'll update those changes. So there's a lot of cool things about Google Spreadsheet. However, this company, Insight Global, essentially put on a Google Spreadsheet these people in Pennsylvania, their names, their phone numbers, their email address, their gender, their race, and other sensitive information as it relates to the type of questions they ask. And looking at the spreadsheet, I'm actually going to share some of the comments that they made just to show you why this is bad, because now this information is out in the dark web, out for people to download, out for hackers to do a lot of bad things. So for example, one comment by one of the workers said his wife was positive. She should have been in isolation. It sounds like neither are following protocol. So just imagine this was you, and you have your name, your full name, your email address, your phone number, and other personal information. Another item: 4 children in home, in emotional support, and ADHD diagnosis. Another one: she's on psych meds for depression. She says she is suicidal. And we know during the COVID time, there was a lot of, and still today, there's still a lot of this suicidal. You have people depressed, you have people who may have lost a relative. And when you are essentially getting a phone call from a contract tracer, you don't think too much about who this person is on the other end. You know, they're a government worker or government contractor. More than likely, they are working for the health department. So this is especially during the trying times of COVID, and you're just giving out information to this person. And what you don't know is that they were putting this in an unsecure spreadsheet. And this unsecure spreadsheet was able to be viewed hundreds of times by different people. And if you know one thing about spreadsheets, once you download that spreadsheet, once it's on the internet forever. So just to give you some information about this company inside Global. Since then, because this was recently leaked, and there was a whistleblower that basically said that they told the company that they had some of their employees that were doing this, and apparently the company did not take action. And then they did like a whistleblower, which they went to the government, and when with the way whistleblower works is that you can go to the government and you essentially won't be indicted because if you were involved in things like that. But that's for the lawyers to talk about. So April 21, Insight Global became aware of this, that several employees created this unauthorized Google account for sharing the information, including everything that I have told you. So this was a $23 million contract. Personally, I'm very, it's just disappointing that you get a $23 million contract and your job is to collect people's information, and really your number one thing is to keep that information protected. If you collect it, you need to protect it. So our channel is all about how to provide information to business owners. And now I like to talk about, if you are a business owner listening to this, how do you make sure that your name and your company name does not end up on the news? If you collect information from your clients, how do you make sure that your employees are not, maybe they're just trying to work better, but what they don't know is better is not secure. And how do you make sure that your employees are following the protocol? So the first thing is let's talk about, how was this person even able to create a Google spreadsheet without a supervisor knowing? Did the supervisor notice? And if the supervisor knew this, then this could only mean that internally there was not a sufficient or efficient way of these employees being able to work. Because again, Google Spreadsheets is a great app, but it's not supposed to be used in certain ways, and especially without proper permissions. Another thing for you as a business owner, that you should be talking with your employees and reminding them about your policies and reminding them about data security, and that you should also have an open door policy for your employees, that if they sense that maybe someone is doing something wrong, there's an email or there's a phone number. There's a lot of services where you can essentially partner with them, where it's a 1-800 number and the calls are not recorded, and the agent will basically write down everything that that an employee is telling. So you should have that, especially for larger organizations. If there is there's information in your business that you want to be sure that your employees are not going the wrong way and doing things about, you should have a way where there's like essentially a hotline. Next thing is, audit what your employees go on. I cannot stress this enough. There could be a way in your business where employees are using something like Google Spreadsheets, or even if it's SharePoint or OneDrive, and they're putting information in there. There's software that your IT department can put that says that if it sees a treasure trove of data leaving from point A to go to point B, or employees are typing stuff in an unauthorized program, that it alerts the IT department and alerts management. So you should definitely talk to your IT company about that, because that, if and I'm not here to play Monday morning quarterback, I don't know all the details about this, but if your company has something like that in place, your risk minimize, your risk shrinks. Because if your company has this in place and all of a sudden there is information, when you like copy and paste data from one place to another, or if you're trying to import information, or if you're trying to email information, and it sees that it's someone's name, email address, phone number, and other personal information, and we're not just talking about one, we're talking about hundreds, and in this case, thousands, even hundreds of thousands, because right now they're saying it's 72,000 minimum. So once this application and this service sees that there's a lot of information going from the private network to a public cloud network, it alerts the IT managers and alerts the supervisors. So that's something definitely that your business should be considering. So we'll continue to stay on top of this just to see what happens. But again, I was very amazed about this because there's one thing, the name, the phone numbers, all of that is a typical thing, but now they're typing in personal information. You had somebody who said that they were suicidal, and now this is public information. Nobody wants the public. Well, maybe it is a good thing to know if someone's suicidal so you can help them, but nevertheless, nobody wants that information. Even if it's 5 years from now and they recover, they don't want that information out. When they tell you something, it should be considered private, it should be considered confidential, and most importantly, it should be known that it's going to be secure and kept secure. So if you haven't already, please go ahead and like and subscribe to our page. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you next time.